Good morning and welcome to another special edition of Inside Story. I'm Tamala Edwards. In these days, of course, we all have a lot on our minds, things going, it seems, in every direction. And a lot of us out there are having a hard time trying to figure out how to deal with that. So today, we wanted to get everybody a little bit of insight and help. And so let me introduce my guest. We've got author, speaker, and coach Hillary Beard, who's done a lot of thinking, a lot of speaking, and a lot of writing around these issues. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, we're really glad to have you here. And let's start with everything reopening. On one hand, people are excited to get back to life as they know it, and yet it's not life as they know it. Everybody's in a mask. It's not really clear which rules we're following. And we know 20 states are seeing a spike. We might see a spike. How do people deal with the uncertainty and the fatigue of dealing with all of this?
Yeah, these are really good questions, and they're questions that we're all navigating in real time on the fly with not adequate guidance and imperfectly. So I think we need to allow ourselves that. So I think the most important thing is to understand that the COVID virus is no respecter of persons. So it doesn't matter who you are or where you live or whether you think you're vulnerable or not, the virus is merely seeking to duplicate itself. And so some of us, because of how society is structured, are more in the path of it than others. However, the virus is seeking to duplicate itself. And so what we need to do is keep that in mind constantly. The weather's nice, yes. Maybe we want to go to the park or go to the beach, and those are safe, far safer places to be if we're social distancing and wearing a mask. The wearing of a mask is crucial. But we're going to have to navigate our own selves through an understanding of our risk and constantly keep in mind that even though things seem to be normal, they're not. And the virus is seeking to replicate itself, and all it's looking for is a host. So we have to keep that in mind, and we have to take care of ourselves in the process.
What do you do with the exhaustion? I've heard a number of people say, you know what, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. I probably have had it by now. They're wearing their mask on their ear. What do you do? Do you have any tricks for yourself to say, Hillary, I know you don't want to think about this right now, but it's out there, and you eat a cookie. You do something every time you do it the right way.
Yeah. So there are a lot of things that I do, and I actually have some of them sitting next to me. So self-care is so important right now, no matter who you are. We're at a place where nature, whether it's COVID or climate change, is telling us, this ain't working, folks, human beings, like we need to find some different ways. And so I think it's really important for all of us to calm ourselves, to still ourselves, to connect with something bigger and greater than ourselves, which we are a part of, so that we can listen and identify new strategies, new ways of being in the world, new ways of moving, new ways of relating to each other, new ways of showing up at a time when life and society is really requiring us to change. And so the self-care piece is crucial. And so we live in a society that is often trying to sell us something. And so many of us have no self-care techniques or strategies, or we've been taught that doing things like getting our hair done or our nails or our makeup are self-care. Those are more beauty routines, or perhaps going shopping, or Netflix and chill, or going into your man cave and watching games all weekend. Like, those are not distinction between engaging in the economy and engaging in entertainment and self-care. So self-care is more about nurturing your spirit, and self-soothing is around calming yourself when you're feeling distressed. So we need to be able to differentiate between these things. And so I actually have, you can buy for just a couple of dollars, you can even order seeds. This is a lavender plant. Lavender smells amazing. Its aromatherapeutic properties are calming and self-soothing. A lot of people plant geraniums, lavender, geranium, chamomile tea. These things are all self-soothing. You can get little oils essential oils that you put on your pulse points to help you calm yourself. You can do things simple like laying in a room in the dark, like remove all the sensory stimulation, no music, no TV, no other people, just be in your room, pull the shades, put on an eye mask, and just remove the sensory stimulation. That can be a really powerful thing to do.
As somebody who lives
Particularly
with
for
two little boys,
adults,
that does look really powerful to me right now.
that looks powerful, right? Okay, so you mentioned children. I have a dear friend, Denise Milner, who she was really in when her children were young. She was really into the soothing power of taking a bubble bath. She would shut the door, and the rule was when children and spouses knocked on the door, the question was, is there blood? No blood? No mommy is standing right now. And so we
I'm
need
going
to
to have to
allow
incorporate
ourselves
that.
the space for these things. Right. Thank Denise
Well,
for
it's
that.
interesting
So,
it's interesting you talk about children and spouses because I think that's one of the things. I read something that said, for a lot of marriages, a key part of staying together is a cup of coffee in the morning and have a nice day. I will see you in 8 to 9 hours. And instead, people are on top of each other with their children, with their spouses, with their work. And it is taking a toll. Do you have any advice for people who are having a hard time with their partners, with their spouses, with whoever is in their personal space?
yeah. So, people were not meant to live on top of each other like this, right? Obviously. And so it's important to give each other space. If your home is large enough, to allow each other separate rooms, perhaps for a while, to take space, if you don't have separate rooms, perhaps just using silence. The self-care piece for everybody is really important. I know some of these things are associated with women in this society, but these are equally important for men. Play is really important for our children, but also perhaps for us adults. Like I keep pencils and crayons. I have an adult coloring book, right? And these things are really soothing. Some of the things that our parents and grandparents did. If you have space or even a windowsill, plant a garden and engage with the garden. If you can go to the park, be in the park. You can go individually or together, but allow yourself this space. Like nobody was supposed to live like this. Children were never supposed to be up under their parents like this. So even if you go together, perhaps there's a way to allow enough space and some guidelines, of course, social distancing appropriately.
Let's talk about also the second big story other than COVID, which is the social unrest, the feelings that people have around the killing of George Floyd, and maybe what happened with Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, other things that we're dealing with as a society. And I want to take a step back. I think for a lot of people, they may be in the space of their interactions with others are difficult right now. Maybe one person sees the protesters, but somebody else in their space sees the looters. Maybe one person is saying, I want to work on the issue this way, but somebody is saying, I don't want to work on it at all. Or they feel adrift. They don't even know where to begin. What is your advice to people in this moment where I think people want to do something, but even a conversation can be fraught sometimes?
Yeah. So we're at a really important and pivotal time. Change is happening, life moves forward, and there are so many new people in the conversation, which creates this tremendous possibility. It's really exciting, and it's also difficult. So I think for all of us, first of all, is to acknowledge that this is difficult, perhaps in different ways for many different people. So maybe it's safe to say it's difficult for everybody to allow. There is this concept called the growth mindset. And the idea is around being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And that new information makes us uncomfortable oftentimes. And to get to new solutions in our society, to figure out a way of living that works better for more of us, for all of us, ideally, we're going to have to get out of our comfort zones. Every single last one of us are going to have to get out of our comfort zones, and it's going to be uncomfortable. And so the idea of being comfortable, being uncomfortable, but also engaging in deliberate practice around doing new things. So it may be new to you to think about racism or to acknowledge racism or to talk about racism or to read about racism or to have conversations either within your race or across races and cultural groups and ethnicities around racism. These are all new skills that we need to be developed, and it's somewhat similar to working out in a gym. You may start out with weak muscles, and it's the repetition, that creates the strength. It's the repetition over time and the commitment to it over time. These are not issues that came to be this way overnight. They're not issues that are going to be solved overnight. These are generational issues. However, we are not willing to continue to sit in things the way they are anymore. Many things are going to move forward quickly, and we're all going to need to grow. And so this is also a place where the self-care comes in, because I've been very involved in these conversations. I was doing a Facebook Live. I've done 14 of them. And this week I was like, you know what? I need to take a pause. I need to take care of myself, get my life in order, calm myself, put my own mask on first. We're used to that conversation from the airplanes. Well, I need to follow the airplane rule, put my own mask on first so that I show up, whether it's I show up to my partner or I show up to my community or I show up to my children in a way where I'm able to feed people and participate in the conversation from my overflow, but I'm taken care of. I'm safe.
Of yourself
I'm healthy,
first.
I'm balanced. I'm not putting it first. Yes.
We were talking about the Anne Lamott saying that, everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes, even you, that it's something to think about. Give yourself permission wherever you are. We're down to the last few minutes, and I wanted to, in particular, ask you a word for people who are African American, because you watch those videos or you hear these stories, you take it in at a different level. Even things that people may think that they're doing that are helpful, the checking in, all of a sudden, all of us have 25 people we haven't talked to in a long time saying, how are you doing? It can all be exhausting. Any advice, well, and exhausting, it doesn't even really cover it. It's that every conversation depletes you. Every conversation takes you back to that place and all the feelings that come up. What is your advice to those of us who are standing in that space, who are confused and sad and angry, and it is personal, and looking for a little relief?
Yeah, I really come back to self-care. I think that a lot of us need to allow our emotions to move through and not stuff them down, not pretend that they don't exist, to allow the emotion to move through. The emotion is merely energy, and as the energy passes through us and passes out of us, what begins to open up for us is new possibilities. And we too need to figure out new ways of being and thinking, new ways of showing up, new ways of engaging, new ideas new possibilities for ourselves, new creativity that we have perhaps tamped down in order to fit in these small boxes that are painful for us. It's important for us to heal from that and to prioritize our healing work so we can show up and really continue to push society forward and get us and lead and get us to where we need to be, which is a society where all people can thrive, where everybody is valued, where Black lives matter, Black and brown lives. We are safe, we can show up, we can contribute our gifts to society and help the society live into what it was meant to be.
Where we can all breathe. And before I leave you, very quickly, do you have a motto, a mantra, just something that you say to yourself every day to put one foot in front of the other to get out of bed?
No, I don't have that, but one thing that I do every day that I highly recommend for everybody, and particularly for Black and brown people, is to find this way that nature has of healing and elders, and I ask them as well, and God to let me know what my next step should be, order my steps and let me know how I should move and how they moved that brought me to this place right now.
When you're in doubt, from whoever it may come, just ask for some help. That's what I always say. Well, Hillary, it has been a wonderful time spent with you. Hopefully somebody, and I'm sure they have gotten something to think about in some ways, that they can try something new and be in a better place. So thank you again, Hillary Beard, author, speaker, and coach. This has been another special edition of Inside Story. I'm Tamala Edwards. We'll see you back here next weekend.